Most first-time investors start by opening the Zillow app.
But if you start property hunting without doing these things first, you're setting yourself up for stress, mistakes, and potentially even a bad investment.
Why did I do that?
In today's video, we're sharing 5 things that most first-time Airbnb investors get wrong and how you can avoid them. So let's get started.
The first thing that many first-time short-term rental investors do wrong is jumping into property hunting without fully defining their goals.
Not just, I want passive income. You have to answer the question, what should this investment property do for your life? Are you trying to replace a salary, build long-term wealth, or maybe just have enough left over for your family to take a nice vacation once a year?
Because the right investment for someone who wants to be able to retire early is going to look totally different than the property that you might just want to use once or twice a year and rent it out the rest of the time.
And your answer to that question may change over time or with future purchases, and that's okay. But the point is to decide on a goal up front so you can make your purchase with intention.
When we bought our first investment property together, it was a duplex and we were house hacking, meaning that we were living in one unit and then renting out the other unit on Airbnb. Some people do this with a house and rent out individual rooms, but we did it with a duplex.
We were looking for a way to cover some or all of our mortgage and enable us to own a property that was by the beach, which we couldn't otherwise afford. And this property did all of that and more.
With our second rental property purchase in Arizona, our goals had shifted a little bit. We were looking for something that we could add value to, let it appreciate, and then take the earnings and reinvest it into stocks or some other form of passive income.
More recently, we've been attracted to properties that have the potential to be really high earners that are very unique, or something with a lot of land where there's a potential to develop or add more unique structures down the line.
And some properties we've purchased purely for lifestyle reasons. Places that made sense on paper and also gave our family a nice place to live or to spend time.
So again, there's no one right answer, but if you skip this step, you're likely to get caught up in someone else's perspective of what is a good investment versus your own. So it's better to do your research and thoughts about what is best for you.
This doesn't feel right.
The second thing that most first-time investors get wrong is underestimating the cost of getting the property guest ready and keeping it that way.
Many people think that if you've got your down payment and your monthly mortgage expenses figured out, that you're all set, but that's really just one piece of the puzzle.
You've got furnishing and decor and other inventory like smart locks and cameras, all of which adds up very fast, especially if it's your first time setting up a property.
Thankfully, we can help you with that part. We've taken all the guesswork out of the essential items needed at a short-term rental property and done all the product testing for you.
Our free sample inventory list includes links to all of the essential products that we put in our short-term and mid-term rental properties, and you can access all the details down in the description box or by going to arrivals.com/inventory.
Aside from essentials, first-time investors often overlook expenses like permits, business licenses, required insurance upgrades, repairs or updates that aren't optional, things like replacing broken blinds, deep cleaning carpets, or upgrading old light fixtures.
When we bought our short-term rental/wedding venue in Albuquerque, we knew that we were going to uncover some hidden maintenance issues. This is to be expected with a property of that size and age, and one that we knew had not been meticulously maintained.
But we didn't expect the volume of them or how expensive some of the fixes might have been.
We ended up going way over budget with that project, and even though we have since recovered financially, it was a really stressful time for us for a while.
Our cash reserves took a big hit, and that would have really been a problem or set us back if we wouldn't have been able to float those extra expenses.
Once you're up and running, you'll also have those monthly recurring expenses as well. Things like landscaping or pool service, Wi-Fi, utilities, and general wear and tear repairs.
So when you're building out a budget, make sure to give yourself extra cushion, allocate some more money than you actually think you need.
The third thing that many first-time short-term rental investors get wrong is overlooking city regulations for short-term rentals.
And you also want to have an exit plan or a secondary strategy in case those regulations might change in the future.
We manage a bunch of properties in La Quinta, California, and a few years ago, the city put a temporary hold on issuing new short-term rental permits. During that time, a lot of investors, including some of our clients, purchased properties and planned to rent them temporarily as a midterm rental with hopes of being able to get a short-term rental permit when the hold was lifted.
But that day never came. The city changed from what they called a temporary ban on new permits to a permanent one, and for some of those owners, the numbers didn't work as a midterm rental or at least not nearly as well as they had hoped.
Doesn't add up.
We've seen this happen in other areas too. Sometimes first-time buyers will think, oh, it's out in the country, so it won't matter, or the neighbors are doing it, so I can do it too.
But most cities with any kind of existing short-term rental program or a ban on them are really cracking down on illegal operators. They use third-party companies that scrub listings from Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com, pretty much all the booking platforms, even social media, to look for illegal operators and write them hefty fines.
And even if the city misses it, there's nothing stopping Karen next door from calling the city hotline and reporting you. And I literally mean the Karen next door because we have a property with a next door neighbor named Karen who will call the city if someone so much as sneezes too loud.
Call the police!
So please, don't skip this step. Do your research, call the city, look on their website, ask about things like zoning, inspections, noise ordinances. Cover all your bases so you don't get caught in a bad spot.
Because even if the property looks great and all the numbers pencil out, if you can't legally rent it, then none of that matters.
The fourth thing that many first-time Airbnb investors get wrong is getting emotionally attached to a property and then trying to kind of force it to make the numbers seem like they work.
It is easy to fall in love with the look of a house, with its design potential, with its location, but just because a property is beautiful does not mean that it is going to be profitable.
So you have to run the numbers like a business. Look at comps, average occupancy rates, seasonal swings, and even how long it might take you to repay your setup costs.
And don't just rely on revenue projections that somebody hands you without looking into them yourself.
These projections might come from a realtor, and we're not saying all realtors inflate their projections.
But we have had direct experience with new clients calling us and saying that they are in escrow on a property and that their realtor told them that they can make $120,000 a year, when we know that that is absolutely not true.
That is a total lie.
There's a big difference in what a property can earn or what it has historically earned and what it will earn. You have to look at the listing quality, the guest experience, competition, and just how well that market is doing for the given time.
You should also be running numbers across multiple strategies. If the property only works as a short-term rental, then that is a bit riskier. So we like to see something that could also work as a midterm rental, or best case scenario, also as a long-term rental.
That kind of flexibility protects your investment and gives you a bit of a cushion in case regulations change or maybe your personal goals change in the future.
And finally, don't forget the tax side. Depending on how you rent it out and how involved you are in the day-to-day operations, you may qualify for additional deductions, and you can factor that into your decision making as well.
We're not CPAs, but it is definitely worth talking to a good one who knows short-term rentals, because many first-time investment buyers don't realize how big of a part taxes could play into your long-term return.
The fifth thing that many first-time short-term rental investors get wrong is thinking that the income is going to be purely passive when it is not.
We've seen some buyers close on a property without any plan for their operations, things like cleaning, maintenance, or guest communication, any of it, and then they're left scrambling when they've got a booking and they really don't know what to do next.
I don't know what to do.
Too many people underestimate the time that it does take to run a short-term rental well, especially if you're doing it from out of state.
We're not saying it can't be done. We do it, but there is a lot of people on social media that make it sound like it's just a breeze when it really isn't.
And it's not just about messaging guests and stocking toilet paper. You're managing cleaners, vendors, pricing, platforms, reviews, late night calls, and real-time issues that come up.
That's why it's important to decide before you buy. Are you going to self-manage this property? Are you going to work with a full-service property manager? Or are you going to be somewhere in the middle, like working with a co-host and sharing some responsibilities?
That decision will and should affect the market that you choose and ultimately the type of property that you decide on.
The truth is, short-term rental investing is not passive income unless you do hire and pay for a full-service property manager.
And if you don't hire a property manager, then it is a business, and you should treat it like a business from day one.
If you're looking for more guidance at any stage of an investment property purchase, we do offer one-on-one consulting and can help you with some of your questions.
And if you're not ready for that yet, no worries. We also have a bunch of free resources linked for you down in the description box.
If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, sign up for notifications, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our weekly videos on short-term rental tips and other practical advice of real estate investing.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.